3, 2, 1, vamos! Hi everybody and welcome to another exciting edition of Boring JavaScript. I'm your host, the Virtuoid, aka Mike Smith, and today we're going to be talking about the splice method on arrays. Now the splice method will take an array and it will take out elements of that array and then put the resulting pieces back together again. Just like the old days when you had the old reel-to-reel film, let's say you had a bad spot in the film, you would cut the film here and cut the film there and then put the two pieces back together again. That process was called splicing the film, and they've taken the exact same verbiage, I think is the better term, and used that inside arrays. You want to see how it works? Let's get started. So to show you the splice method of the array, we've got to first have an array. That's right. So I have built a quick little array here of 9 elements. Each element is an object which has 3 properties: type, name, and class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all print out the contents of the animals array, do the splice, and then print out the contents afterwards. Here is the splice command method. And the splice method takes 2 arguments. The first argument is the index in which to start the splicing method, and the second argument is the number of elements to delete. Because remember, the splicing is going to basically find a spot within the array, remove that element or a number of elements, as in the delete count, and then put the 2 pieces back together again. So it's very important to understand that once the splice operation completes, the original array, in this case animals, will be mutated. So what I'm going to do here in line 15 is I'm going to find the index number of the animal type of cow. Then I will use that index number as the index number to begin the deletion process for deleting one character. So in our particular animal's case, here's cow. It happens to be index number 3 because, again, remember, array indexes start at 0. So this is 0, 1, 2, and 3. So cow is our 3rd index. So when we get to the splice, it's going to start deleting at the 3rd index and delete for 1. So what I should expect to happen is that the before printout will have all 9 elements. The after will have only 8 elements, and there will be no cow between the horse and coyote. You want to see how it works? Of course you do. Let's flip back over to Node, and let's type in node splice. Here's our before. Everything is here. Here's our after. Notice there is no more cow between the horse and coyote. Why? Because once we found cow, which was index number 3, it deleted cow and then put the 2 pieces back together again to form a new, not form a new array, excuse me, but to mutate the animals array. So now my animals array has 8 elements in it without cow, or without the cow between the horse and the coyote. Now, what happens if we delete more than just 1? Well, that's real simple. Let me show that to you. Let's just take this out real quick. And let's open up some other code that I happen to have here. Now let's take a look at this other code. So the same array as before, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at number 1 and I'm going to delete to the length -2. So I'm going to start at the first index, which is right here. Then I'm going to end at, or I'm going to delete the number I'm going to delete is the length -2. Well, the length is 9, -2 is 7. So I'm going to delete 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what I should have on my after animals is, the before one should have all 9 in there. The after one should have just the lizard and just the cat. But I do want to show you one other thing, is that when you actually do the splice, the data that is returned from splice are the deleted elements. So this is going to create a new array with all the deleted animals. So now I'll have 2 arrays. My first array is going to be animals, which will just have cat and lizard. But my second array, deleted animals, should have dog all the way through whale. Let's take a look and see if that's what really happens. Let's go over to Node. Let's clear the screen off. Go to Splice. And here's right before. All 9 are there. My after, sure enough, just cat and lizard are there. And my deleted animals, yep, dog, horse, cow, coyote, roadrunner, dolphin, and whale, which corresponds to numbers 1 with, or starting at number 1 with deleting 7 items. So that shows you how Splice can work with being able to start at a certain index and delete a certain number of items and return to you all the elements that have been deleted. Now, earlier I said that it has 2 arguments. That's actually not correct. There's actually more than that. We'll show you that next. So you can delete elements out of your array using Splice, but did you know that you can also insert elements? Let's take a quick look at that. Here is my new animals array. No big deal. Notice the cow and coyote are missing, but now I have a variable called cow and a variable called coyote. Here is my splice method. Same thing as before. I'm starting off with a particular index. This time I'm telling it not to delete anything because it has a delete count of 0, but now I have some extra arguments. And what will happen is that if the splice method has more than those 2 arguments, the first 2 that we've explained before, it will then insert these variables into your array. So what will happen is that when it gets to here, it's going to say, okay, I've got my horse, that's index number 2, and I happen to know there it is, it's index number 2, and I'm not going to delete it, but then I'm going to insert cow at index number 2. So cow becomes 2, horse becomes 3. Then I'm going to insert coyote after cow because it inserts all these elements in the order that they appear within the argument list. So coyote will become the new 3 and horse will then become 4. So what will happen is that we will start off with cat, dog, horse, roadrunner, dolphin, whale, and lizard. We will end up with cat, dog, then cow and coyote, then horse, roadrunner, dolphin, whale, and lizard. Let's take a look at node and see what happens. Let's go to node insert. And yep, sure enough, that's what happened. There's cat, dog, but cow and coyote came in before horse. And horse is still there, obviously, because we had a delete count of 0. So that's how you can insert elements into another array by using the splice method. If you think about it, we have a scaling problem here. Let's go back to our code. This is all great if we have a couple of variables, but what happens if we had 100 variables, 200 variables? You know, we had 300 animals got delivered to us from the big Bronx Zoo or something. We can't sit there and create 300, well, we can create 300 variables, but it's stupid to sit there and create 300 variables and have this big giant splice method with 302 arguments on there. So what are we to do? Well, let me show you the real quick and easy way on how JavaScript solves that problem. Let's comment out this code, and then let's go and uncomment this code. And let me show you what we have. Now I am putting my new animals into another array. And each animal is going to be an element within the array. You know, just like we did with the animals at top here. Here is the code we have for the splice method. Horses remain the same, or the starting index remain the same. The delete counters remain the same. But now look what we've done here. In this case, we're using the 3 dots, which is called in JavaScript a destructuring assignment. And what a destructuring assignment does is it takes the array variable, and it has to be an array variable at the very that you specify here, and it will take each element of that array and put it into the argument list here as if each element was an argument. So I have a 2-element array called new animals. What will happen when it finally gets executed is it's going to say, okay, argument number 1 is horse, argument number 2 is 1, argument number 3 is a destructuring new animals, so I'm going to make argument number 3 actually cow, and argument number 4 coyote. So if I had 100 or 200 or even 500 entries into my array, it basically will, with just this one tiny little destructuring assignment there, create internally a 200, 300, 400 arguments to my splice method. So as you can tell here, this is a very unique way of being able to insert one array within another one without having to go through a whole ton of rigmarole or some sort of for next loop or anything like that. You want to see how it works? Let's take a look. Let's clear off the screen, go to insert, and there we are. Notice there's no more horse here. Why? Because we had a delete count of 1. So it deleted horse. Horse is still index number 2, so cow got put in index number 2 and coyote got index number 3. So Splice is a beautiful way of being able to take one array and throw it right smack dab into the middle of another array. I deleted horse here. It didn't have to delete horse. But now, because I'm using the destructuring assignment here, I can have a 2-element array, 10-element array, 100-element array, 1,000-element array, although you might have memory problems by that point. Doesn't really matter. But use Splice if you want to be able to insert one array into another. Works perfectly. And that's all there is to the Splice method on arrays. I hope you enjoyed our video. Hope it didn't bore you to death. Please view all of our videos at www.boringjavascript.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel or see everything we have at www.thevirtualoid.com. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you later.